Okay.
Hey guys! So today I have Philip here.
Hello.
And we met each other in uni. And we have spent now like over a year.
Time goes fast,
Yeah, transforming together and learning from each other. And yeah, he's an amazing guy, as you will see soon from what he has to tell you. And yeah, maybe you can give a little introduction about yourself.
Well, as you guys already know, my name is Philip. I am 21 years old, and self-development could be coined as my passion. I love asking questions. I love going into the mysteries of the universe, so to speak, and also finding ways how we can better live our lives. And yeah, that's really the gist of who I am, what I want to do. Yeah, that's my passion. And
nice. Yeah, I mean, I know already a lot about you, about your journey.
Maybe a little bit too
much. And how you transform to become, you know, the best version of yourself. So if we now start with something that might not be as beautiful and maybe a little bit more dark, because obviously we also have to explore the darkness to find the light.
Exactly.
So what was life like at your lowest point?
So, like a bunch of years ago, I found myself just tired of life, right? Like I would look into the mirror and it would look into my eyes and I would see that no one was home. You know, like it was almost like the spark of life had left me at that point. And I grew up with a pretty bad lifestyle. I feel most of us grow up like that. Like my life would be in front of screens. I would eat a lot of junk food, and I would constantly be finding ways to escape from myself on an emotional level. Like I was trying to numb myself, and at one point of time my body was just so incredibly tired that I could just no longer go on. So as I said, like the spark of life had left my eyes. My skin was as dry as sandpaper, right? Like it was really that bad. Like I would literally not feel comfortable in my own skin. I would not have the energy to do the things I would want to do in life, and it just felt like life wasn't worth living at that point, you know? Like whenever we reach a point like that, you know, whenever you realize like, wow, I'm 18 years old and at this point I'm already feeling tired of life, like what does that mean for the rest of my life, right? Like that was really the question I asked myself. So naturally I decided that I didn't want to go on living like that, so I started looking into ways of bettering my health in a natural way. I've done a lot of research into society from a young age, and I realized that the pharmaceutical industry was not going to save me, it was not going to make myself better. I was going to be solely responsible for bettering my health. My brother and I, we started looking into natural ways of improving our well-being. This ended up becoming quite the intense search. I spent thousands of hours on the internet looking at different tools, different methods, different ways of improving my well-being on a natural level. And slowly but surely I saw myself transforming, and I saw that my actions on an everyday level started having a meaningful impact in the way I was living my life. And yeah.
What was the most significant discovery that you made during that time?
Basically that, of course, like there's a lot of different things you discover on a path like this, but the most pressing discovery was that disease basically has like a universal cause, right? And that it's manifested in the sense of all the clutter and all the toxins and chemicals and mucus with which our body becomes filled up because of the modern lifestyle. It's like basically nature's very smart, and whenever our body becomes threatened, it tries to protect itself in many ways.
For example, one bad habit of eating that can lead to certain things without you even noticing it. So maybe something that many people might have but they don't even know it, like with alcohol abuse or...
Yeah. It was so like a really big discovery I made was that in nature our body is supposed to be alkaline, right? So it's like when you have the pH level, it's supposed to be on the right side of the pH level. Not acidic, but also not too alkaline. It's a very delicate balance. And what I noticed myself is that from a very young age onward, I was eating a lot of acidic foods. So these could be foods like cheese, like meats, and a lot of the processed doughs that we have incorporated into the modern diet, right? So like, whenever we eat something that is acidic and is not alkaline in nature, such as fruits and vegetables, for instance, our body tries to protect itself. And it starts creating mucus, right? Because this mucus, it's like an alkaline substance our body creates to shield itself from the acidic components of the foods we're eating, right? Because if our blood gets acidic, it's done and dusted over, you know? Like it's like there's no returning from that. Like your body tries to prevent that to the maximum extent. So, long story short, what I noticed is that a lot of the foods I was eating were acidic and they were causing my body to become filled up with mucus. Which was basically like your body growing. Well, it's basically your body becomes filled with a ton of stuff it doesn't need.
Yeah.
So it grows inefficient, it grows tired, it grows weak.
Yeah.
And only when I started addressing this problem did I start seeing improvements in my well-being.
And I mean, it's crazy to think that all these toxins that are known to be in our food, like, you know, from the fast food industry, you know, they are in our body, you know, they are there, like we ingest them. That's something like difficult to realize, that, you know, these toxins, they don't just go away, you know, they're not like, oh, now they're invisible and now they don't exist, but they're in your body, and then something happens to them, and they are stored in your organs. They go somewhere, or they stay there, and then, you know, they cause more different things to happen that are not beneficial to your health. And you might think, oh, but I feel kind of good, you know, I don't feel like super bad. But wait until you are a little bit older, until you're maybe not 20 or something. Wait until you're 40. And I mean, we want to be vital and we want to be energized also when we're 40, you know. I mean, just think of, I don't know, maybe some members of your family who you see and you think, maybe you could be more energetic in different ways, but you're not treating yourself the best way. So that doesn't start only when you're older, that starts now.
The process of aging is continuous, right? And whenever we do things with our bodies that it was not designed for by nature, we are aging ourselves. We are making the human organism, the human body, less efficient than it could be.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So all the cells in your body are growing up under conditions that are less than optimal, right? Which will cause for a degradation, it will cause for a degeneration of your body, of your mind, of your spirit over longer amounts of time. And what I found myself to be in my darkest hour was that I was just completely numbed from life. My body was no longer able to sense the reality around itself, or at least not as good as it used to be, right? Like when we were a child, we were all energetic and we were jumpy and like nothing is boring about life. But somehow when we got older, we lose that spark inside of ourselves, right? And like there's only very little people that actually manage to captivate the spark once again, which I feel is like such a beautiful journey, because once you realize what has been lost, you start appreciating what you have.
Yeah. So how far were you actually willing to go for your health?
I mean, basically everything was on the table at that point. Because like when your skin feels and looks like sandpaper, when you literally don't feel comfortable in your own skin anymore and you don't have the energy to pursue your dreams, I mean, basically it's a choice between life and death at that point. Because like something in you realizes that, like, at least my soul was crying out for change. There was no way I was gonna keep doing the same things I was doing already. So I had to change my decisions to change the outcome. That was very clear. So I did a lot of things over the years, you know, to change my health for the better. I started eating differently, started eating more plant-based diet, right? So like a lot of fruits and vegetables, some nuts in between. I started experimenting with water fasting, right? Which might sound very extreme, but basically you give your body a vacation, a well-deserved vacation, so it can get rid of all the clutter. Yeah, like I did a lot of different things, so like taking cold showers, doing breathing exercises, doing yoga, doing meditation, you know, actually quieting down my mind, right? Because I mean, personally, I'm addicted to thinking, right? So like every second on a day that I'm like not thinking, I can just come to my senses is very valuable for me. There's a lot of different things you can do to improve your quality of life, and I feel like it's not so much about having one solution. It's about combining a whole set of solutions, you know, finding your freedom in combining these solutions.
Yeah, and I think all of these things that you implemented in your life, in the end, make you feel something, you know? I mean, like breathing techniques and meditation, it's there that you feel the existence, that you feel your own power, that you feel how much worthy you are of this life, you know? Because if we live a life that is only in the external, like only what our friends say matters, only what our family says matters, only everything else matters but yourself,
then you're living someone else's life. And I feel like sometimes you have to experience that before you realize that you don't have a life, but you are alive to the deepest extent possible.
What happened when you could feel the benefit to, like, what transformation did you go through?
So this was really interesting, right? So for years I've been doing, you know, I've been focusing on my mental and spiritual development as a person, as a soul. But this was really the first time I started focusing on my body, right? And the fact that I have a body and we need to take good care of it. So what I would see is, like, I took a lot of pictures of myself, right? Because I really went on to follow this process like a scientist. I wanted to know what would happen. Because, like, I mean, for me, life is one big experiment. I don't know what's going to happen, right? So, so I took these pictures almost every day. And I would literally see myself change in front of the mirror. It was really interesting. So I took like pictures over like a 2-3 year long period. And slowly but surely the color in my eyes started returning. My skin started getting more elastic. I started getting more energy. And I started feeling better, better and better. You know, just because of taking the small steps each and every day. And even on the days I would strafe off the path, of which I know I should have been following it from my heart, I would still feel better than the worst day I felt, you know. So like it was really like seeing myself transform in many beautiful ways I could never have dreamt of being possible. And to me, that is a very big proof that we can change our lives if we really want to. We can change our reality if we truly set our hearts and minds to it.
Yes. And what I also feel is that there is this kind of stigma on self-care and self-love, that it's not for everyone, you know, that oh, we're just destined to kind of feel not complete or something. But if you really start to take care of yourself and, you know, to say maybe one time, oh, okay, now I'm gonna choose for my health, now I'm going to choose for my soul, you know, for example, let's say with drinking less alcohol or with eating the foods that you know are good for your body, you know, I mean, you personally know what is best for yourself deep inside. If you listen to your voice that says, oh, this is, you know, good for myself, if you listen to that voice and if you let yourself guide by your intuition, you know, by that flow that makes you understand, oh, that's what life really is about, you know. I mean, we all have those moments where we think, wow, now I just feel happy and complete, and this has in the end nothing to do with something in the external. This is all about the light inside you, and in order to light that light up, you have to also go through the darkness and maybe go through the harder parts of your life and say, okay, now I'm gonna break some habits that in the end are not good for me, but that will, when I don't, practice them anymore, then I will reach, fullness.
I mean, in the end, it's all about, are you improving yourself to compensate for something? Or are you improving yourself to truly nurture yourself, and to find the wealth within? Because I feel like so many of us, and including me, have been looking outside of ourselves for meaning, but really when we go inside, focus on our breath, we can feel our heart beating. I mean, from that essence, from that innate essence of who we are, can we make the decisions that truly benefit us, from a higher point of view, so to speak. So I really feel it's also about giving yourself patience, and not having to have realized everything that you imagine to be, right? That you are patient with yourself, that you are forgiving with yourself, and that you can just take the little steps, right? Because the big things don't happen all at once. They happen in small increments. You create the trend towards higher growth, and I really feel that's the real essence of change.
Yeah, and I mean,
embracing it like one small part at a time.
Yeah, when you look back in the end after what you have accomplished, when you really say, okay, I'm gonna go these little steps every day something more that is true to myself, then you are at the point where you look back and you are so infinitely grateful for what you have accomplished for yourself, for your own love, for your own truth. I mean, when did you start your journey? How many years ago?
I started looking into meditation and stuff when I was 14, but there's so many layers to this journey, right?
Exactly.
And when you think you know everything, the universe always tells you don't,
Exactly.
There's many different layers to growing and really tasting the soul.
Yes.
And getting to know yourself more and more as you go through both light and darkness, and I really feel, that's such, it is a path beyond words.
Yeah.
It's a path beyond words.
Yeah, and we're all worthy of taking that path, because the reason why we're here on this earth is to enjoy and to love and to care deeply. There's no point in being super cool and not caring about things, because life is meant to touch you, to touch your soul. And if you give your soul this openness and this fullness and all of these kind of things that complement each other and balance each other out, and in the end you find complete harmony, and you can take everything in with your senses as it is, as beautiful it is, and it's complete for yourself, and it's it's like a gift.
But we all create our own version of hell and heaven.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I really feel that the way you choose to perceive things in life is gonna mold the life you live.
Yeah.
Right? So if I constantly am focused on the scarcity and not being enough, not having enough, and constantly seeking meaning outside of myself, then that is the reality I will live. And I've lived both realities, It is really interesting that you can go from being a consumer to being a creator.
Yeah.
Right? From the more empty you become inside, the more the universe is going to fill you up.
Yeah.
Right? So it's it's so paradoxical. It's the less you need, the more you have.
Yeah.
Right? And it's it is a completely different way of looking at things.
Yeah.
But it's truly liberating.
So what tips would you give people who want to break some habits in their lives? Those habits that don't fulfill them, but they keep on doing them because of whatever.
I want to get one thing off the record. I'm not perfect, yo.
Yeah, same.
Like we all got our shit to work on,
Yes.
you know, but that's okay. However, like in the moments I would doubt myself the most, you know, with some of my destructive habits, I know that definitely one thing that doesn't help is blaming yourself and going into the vibration of shame, the sense of shame. So I feel like forgiving yourself for being at the place where you're at right now, I feel that is truly liberating, because then you are creating the space for change, then you are accepting whatever part of yourself you're trying to flee away from, right? Because that is our shadow, and like our shadow is like our subconscious self, it's our unconscious self, it is a part of ourselves we don't intimately know, and therefore can be very scary because it can be unknown to us, right? So what has helped me on my own journey is that after creating the acceptance, the forgiveness, that I would just sit in quietness and focus on my breath, and I would start visualizing the version of my life that I would want to live. So instead of focusing on all the things I don't want to do, which are plenty, right? And I feel like oftentimes we know a lot better what we don't want than what we do actually want, right? But like really going in there, feeling yourself until you can feel your heart beating, and then visualizing the life that you do want to live, filled with all the habits, all the changes, all the potential that you are carrying inside of your heart, because that's where it's going to come from in the end. That's where you're going to feel the change. And when you feel that change, when you see the change, and when you are grateful for that change before it has even happened, you are actively working to change the reality you are living in. Then you are no longer a victim, right? Suffering from the things you don't want, but you become a creator of the things you do want. And I feel that's where the fine line between the creator and the victim role is being drawn. And when you are trained in this, when you are training yourself to respond in a different way, and you see yourself doing that, and you feel yourself doing that, then you will start doing that. Because your nervous system does not know the difference between something that is imagined and something you actually did.
Yeah.
So I feel that's, for me, that is my biggest tool for creating the change I wish to see. And once again, I'm still learning this as well. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I'm just blown away that this is even possible, right? Like, I mean, like, if you start training this and you start becoming experienced in this, no, you know, who knows what you will be able to do.
I mean, we could tell a whole nother story on things that happened in our life once we started to trust the shift and the change. Like, yeah, I mean, we both know that, you know, this transformation towards this love and this inner love can really lead to magic, to magical changes happening in your life. And yeah, I think sometimes it's also really nice to step one step back and to look at it from a new perspective, like you would just be maybe your best friend, you know? What would you tell your best friend? I mean, you wouldn't tell your best friend, oh, you're not worthy of love or something. You would tell your best friend, hey, you deserve all the love. Hey, you can do this. You are amazing, you know? And you would tell that to the people you love, and you can also tell this to yourself, because in the end you are your sister, you're your brother, you are your family, you're everything.
Everything you experience in life is just a reflection of what you experience on the inside.
Yeah.
That's really like the biggest lesson I might have learned over the last 8 years. Like the fact that I am what I'm experiencing, and that there's no such thing as separation, you know, like it's only the illusion of the mind. It's only one because we think in finite terms that we cannot grasp the infinite.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like we cut ourselves off from the things we experience, thinking we are separate from everything that is. And I feel that's just not true, you know, like once you change on the inside, the outside will have no choice but to reflect that.
Yeah, yeah.
No choice, right? And it's like, then you start becoming the creator of your reality from the inside out, instead of being a victim of the external circumstances. You know, it's just a whole different way of looking at the same thing, I guess. And I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm just saying that both these ways of looking and perceiving reality exist.
So, what would you tell your younger self today?
Be patient.
Be patient. Oh yeah.
Because I'm only 21 at this point of time. Like, I feel like I'm definitely gonna be on this earth a whole lot longer.
Yeah.
So if I am playing the long game and just taking it one small step at a time, I feel that's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to have everything figured out yet. You know, like it feels really good to let go of the pressure we put on ourselves sometimes. You know, really just flow with whatever wants to be created from the inside. To not have everything figured out yet, and to just really enjoy life while you're here. You know, because before you know it's gonna be over, you're gonna be old, and life might not be as magical as you once deemed it to be.
Yeah, so take the risks and, you know, take the opportunities that come to your way. You know, sometimes we're so much into the negative realm of the world that we don't see how much gifts and opportunities life has to offer to us. So really start pursuing your dreams and
start living the life you want to live, you know, and ask yourself, what do I want? Not what do I not want, but what do I want? And write it down on a list or something. And even if it's like one thing, right? Like if it's like one little thing you manage to create for yourself, I feel that's worth living for.
Yeah.
That's the experiment of life.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope that you enjoyed our conversation and that you gained a lot from it, and we would love to hear from you what you think. Just write below in the comments what insight was most valuable to you, and we hope to see you soon. Take care.
And thank you for listening.
Yes.
And thank you for being a beautiful soul, for giving us your attention.
Thank you.
And for being involved in becoming your best version. Because that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thank you.